Imagine a forest so cold that steel snaps like a twig. It's January 1940, deep in the snowbound wilderness of Finland. Two armies face off, but the cold is the deadliest enemy. Soviet soldiers, lost and freezing, huddle in vain against the brutal -40 degrees. Their fires offer little comfort, and the cold seeps into their bones. Nearby, Finnish soldiers rest quietly, warmed by a gentle, radiant heat between two glowing logs. They're not just surviving, they're thriving, using ancient knowledge. A special kind of fire that turns the forest from foe to friend. This is the story of the Finnish Gap Fire, the Rako Valkea, a simple, ingenious method that let a small army endure one of history's harshest winters. We'll uncover why Soviet campfires failed and how the Finns' mastery of fire made all the difference. In this frozen war, understanding fire was the difference between life and death. The Soviets had numbers, but the Finns had sisu, resilience, and the wisdom of the forest. A roaring bonfire was a fool's comfort. The real secret was a fire that worked with the cold, not against it. The knowledge of these Finnish soldiers is a powerful reminder. Sometimes the oldest ways are the wisest. What they knew saved lives. What their enemies didn't know cost thousands. The Winter War was a clash of opposites. The Soviet Red Army advanced with overwhelming force, expecting an easy victory. The Finns, outnumbered and outgunned, fought on home ground, armed with deep knowledge of their land and winter's brutal rhythms. Soviet soldiers, many from warmer regions, wore the wrong clothes and built big, wasteful bonfires that devoured wood and gave little warmth. Their fires lit up the night, exposed their positions, and left them shivering. In contrast, Finnish soldiers moved like ghosts. White camouflage, skis, small agile units, blending into the forest. They didn't fight the winter, they became part of it. Their survival depended on efficiency. Every action from clothing to fire was honed for the Arctic. The difference was clearest in their fires. Soviets built desperate, short-lived blazes. Finns built careful, efficient gap fires that provided steady warmth. The Soviet bonfire was a symbol of struggle. The Finnish Gap Fire, a symbol of harmony. One army fought the winter and lost. The other embraced it and endured. The secret? The simple glowing line of two logs. That was the heart of their survival. Why did the standard campfire fail in the Arctic cold? Picture a teepee fire. Flames leaping high, heat rising straight up and away. People huddle around, warmed on one side, freezing on the other, forced to keep turning to avoid the chill. These fires burn hot and fast, devouring wood and demanding constant attention. For Soviet soldiers, big bonfires wasted fuel, created smoke that revealed their positions, and ruined night vision. The fire meant to save them became a beacon for disaster, fleeting warmth, endless work, and restless nights. In survival, a roaring fire is deceptive comfort. It eats resources and gives little in return. The Finns knew better. They needed a fire that worked smarter, not harder. A fire that directed heat outward, not upward. A fire that burned slow and steady, offering real rest and warmth. That's what the Gap Fire delivered. The Finnish answer was the Rako Valkea, the Gap Fire. Instead of a vertical blaze, it's a long horizontal fire built between two parallel logs. It's not for sitting around, but for lying beside, soaking up radiant heat. The two logs act as both firebox and reflector, containing embers and directing warmth right where it's needed. As the fire burns, the log's inner faces glow, radiating gentle horizontal heat. The result? Efficient warmth, minimal fuel use, and hours of steady comfort. The low, linear flame produces little light or smoke, keeping soldiers hidden and alert. The Gap Fire was more than a trick. It was a lifeline, letting Finns sleep soundly and wake ready for battle. It was ancient technology, perfectly adapted to the harshest environment. For the Finns, it was the difference between freezing and surviving. The Gap Fire was the warm heart of their winter strategy. The genius of the Rako Valkea lies in radiant heat. Heat moves by conduction, convection, and radiation. Standard campfires rely on convection, hot air rising and vanishing. The Gap Fire harnesses radiation. The two big logs heat up, their inner faces charring and glowing like giant embers. These surfaces emit infrared waves, pure warmth, directly toward the resting soldier. Instead of heating the air, the Gap Fire heats people and objects directly, creating a cozy microclimate even in Arctic winds. The logs focus heat, one warming the soldier's back, the other reflecting warmth toward them. Sometimes a third log or snowbank behind the soldier bounces heat back, sandwiching them in comfort. Radiant heat isn't stolen by wind. It travels straight, delivering life-saving warmth. This is why Finnish soldiers could sleep soundly in sub-zero temperatures. The Rako Valkea wasn't just a fire. It was a carefully engineered radiant heater. That's the secret of its enduring power. Building a Rako Valkea takes patience and the right materials. Start with two large straight logs, about as long as your body and as thick as your thigh. Green wood is best. It chars slowly and radiates heat for hours. Lay the logs parallel 4 to 6 inches apart on flat ground. Prepare a fire bed in the gap. Fine wood curls for tinder, then dry twigs and finger-thick sticks for kindling. Light the tinder, then add larger dry wood as the fire catches. The flames will heat the inner faces of the green logs, slowly charring them. Manage the fire for a steady bed of coals, not a raging blaze. Lie parallel to the fire 1 or 2 feet away on a bed of spruce boughs for insulation. As the logs glow, you'll feel steady, penetrating warmth, enough to sleep safely even in deep cold. The key: slow-burning logs, efficient fuel, and careful setup. With this method, you can rest easy no matter how harsh the night. The Rako Valkea is survival wisdom in action. Wood choice is critical for a Rako Valkea. For the big reflector logs, Finns use green pine or spruce, hard to ignite, but perfect for slow, steady heat. The surface chars and glows, radiating warmth all night without burning through. For fuel inside the gap, dry wood is essential. Birch is ideal, but dry pine or spruce works well. Dead lower branches of evergreens, sheltered from snow, make excellent kindling. Birch bark, rich in oils, is prized tinder, waterproof and flammable even when wet. Finns carried strips of it as a reliable fire starter. Knowing which wood to use and how was a survival skill, not a luxury. The right wood meant a fire that tended itself, storing and releasing heat like a battery. This deep woodland knowledge was the foundation of Finnish resilience. The Rako Valkea teaches lessons far beyond the Winter War. In survival, knowledge often outweighs force. The Soviets had numbers, but not the know-how to master the cold. True preparedness means understanding your environment and working with it. The Gap Fire is a model of efficiency, maximum heat, minimum fuel and effort. This principle applies to all survival. Always seek the smartest, most efficient solution. The Finns' mental resilience, sisu, was as vital as their physical endurance. The comfort of the Gap Fire restored morale and strength night after night. Survival tools aren't just for the body, they're for the mind. Ancient wisdom shouldn't be forgotten. When technology fails, old skills endure. The Finns survived with knowledge passed down for generations. Their story is a call to preserve and practice these timeless skills. They're as relevant now as they were in the frozen forests of 1940. The Rako Valkea is more than a historical curiosity. It's a testament to human ingenuity and the wisdom of living close to nature. The Finnish soldiers inherited this legacy, using it to survive where modern armies faltered. In today's world, we're often disconnected from these fundamental skills. The story of the Gap Fire is a call to reconnect with lost knowledge. Learning to build this fire isn't just about survival. It's about understanding nature's elegant solutions. The principles, efficiency, radiant heat, resourcefulness, are timeless. By practicing these old techniques, we gain resilience and self-reliance. Every culture has its own survival wisdom. The Rako Valkea is just one example of ancient genius. Share your thoughts below and join me as we explore more lost secrets of survival. The wisdom of the ancients is waiting for us to rediscover it.